A very warm welcome back to the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more of these aviation news updates. In today's proceedings, there is coverage on an order confirmation at Airbus for one of their wide bodies, and then two very contrasting stories related to the pilot shortage, with one airline being impacted negatively and one feeling it's overstaffed. Let's begin with the airline that feels it is overstaffed. United Airlines, the major US carrier, we know has been battling with the ongoing delays in acquiring new Boeing jets for some time. Per Reuters, staff are now being requested to take voluntary unpaid leave. Pilots are the role that is the center of this latest development, which comes following a United Airlines and the relevant union representing their pilots a memo that was seen by Reuters. United Airlines has been on course actually to enjoy some pretty significant growth across a multi-year period, and they've been expanding to many markets right around the world. But in recent times, they've been forced to adjust their forecasted growth. As a result, the airline predicts that growth will slow, and it is now overstaffed. Which is odd considering what the last few years have held for our aviation industry, which has been under some pretty significant pressures. Voluntary periods away from the company are what the airline calls obviously a last resort and something it doesn't want to be doing, but it does need to try to address the subsequent problems it'll be facing from the excess staffing present. United will offer unpaid time off for May or between specific chosen dates. The additional option that is present is a blank schedule. What this essentially means is that trips can be picked up where required, but largely these employees won't be working where possible. United Airlines' recent forecasts, comments, and memos have always highlighted strong problems with the 737 MAX. This has been front and center. These problems were escalated at the beginning of the year following the door blowout incident, and everything that has come since then I'm sure you've been more than aware of. But they're not all just related to the 737 MAX and the 737-10, which we know remains uncertified. Internal problems stretch as far as the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This is a very popular wide-body that the airline relies heavily on for its long-haul operations. In fact, looking into the future, and based on their current fleet plan, you can make the pretty sure assumption that the 787 is going to be one of their most important jets for many decades to come. And while I also touched on the 737-10, which remains, yes, uncertified, there's also delays in acquiring just regular, run-of-the-mill approved MAX jets. Now we're talking about two aircraft families that are hugely important for United not arriving on time and essentially halting any growth plans. Persistent delays in getting these jets on time are having a forecasted knock-on effect on other aircraft types in the fleet that are operational. Essentially speaking, they're putting a lot more pressure on the planes flying. And this impacts not just the long-haul network, but also the short one too. United Airlines' most recent memo has caught the attention of several leading news publications. However, they're far from the only airline having to make drastic changes to cope, whether it be the slowing down of hiring new staff in specific fields, normally relevant to the addition of new aircraft, or the dramatic shift to the leasing market to cover for lost ground. Airlines globally are impacted by these Boeing delivery delays, and are more often than not feeling it in more ways than one. Boeing has though reiterated time and time again that it's in constant communication with its customers, and will look to offer the best solution wherever possible. However, these solutions won't necessarily rid your respective airline customer of its problems overnight, especially considering that these delays have dragged on from months to now several years, and with a skewed timeline that doesn't really have an endpoint, there are visible concerns there. Over to Korean Air, and well, they've finalised an order with Airbus to purchase up to 33 A350s, including both passenger variants, to boost its overall fleet. The commitment includes 27 A350-1000s and 6 A350-900s. The purchase of these aircraft is viewed as essential for Asiana Airlines' upcoming integration into Korean. The South Korean carrier is awaiting final approvals for this formal deal with Asiana to go through in what will form a true mega airline. Once the final approvals, notably from the US, come through, Korean will essentially absorb Asiana. And as part of that, their fleet of A350s will switch allegiances to. Therefore, a deal for this popular Airbus widebody that was first announced last month but now being finalised will enhance its commitment to the next generation of the efficient series. In a press release, Airbus highlighted that the A350 offers airlines a 25% reduction in fuel consumption and carbon emissions compared to previous generation aircraft. Additionally, the A350's range is ideal for airlines' long-haul networks. For Korean Air, while the new A350s will complement the units coming from the Asiana Airlines takeover, they will also prove pretty important for other fleet replacement efforts, and to ensure that fleet commonality is present long into the future. The EVP of sales for commercial aircraft at Airbus said that Korean Air's purchase is a major endorsement for the A350 as a long-range leader right around the world. They say that Korean Air will benefit from the fantastic levels of efficiency with, as I touched on, those reductions in fuel consumption and carbon emissions. Back to stories surrounding pilot shortages and generally the impact from this. In contrast to United Airlines, which is saying it's overstaffed and telling pilots to take unpaid vacation leave, Vistara in India is cutting flights. The cancellation of flights comes as Vistara battles a shortage of not just pilots but also general crew to board aircraft and ensure the safety and integrity of each service remains. Concerns about the ongoing pilot shortage have existed for some time, increasing for several reasons in recent years as more experienced and older pilots have retired. Sometime there have been calls for more accessibility to the career, with the significant costs surrounding the pathway into this role, meaning many have been unable to pursue their dreams, and means that more people are coming out of the role than going in, which is a problem wherever you're looking, but especially for a role such as a pilot. Currently, Vistara says it's battling ongoing maintenance issues with aircraft, among other difficulties, which means they're not able to offer the service that they would ideally like. As a means to cope, Vistara is turning to some of its larger aircraft to be deployed across key markets. What this has meant is some of its 787s and Airbus A321neos are being deployed on quick domestic flights. The view is the higher capacity aircraft somehow make up for the lost ground. But in some cases, local media is reporting this as a crisis, where Vistara is doing itself no favours per passengers is in its communication, with a lot of confusion inside the terminal, the staff working at your airports feeling under pressure as a bit of a mismanagement is taking place. While Vistara cites maintenance and staff shortages as a reason behind the cancellations, and while obviously true, there are some interesting reports from local media that signify a more deep-rooted problem, with pilots reportedly taking leave in a bit of a protest of the upcoming pay adjustments that are set to come with a merger with Air India. This slated to occur in due course. Ultimately, it will be important for Vistara to sort out all these ongoing disruptions to try and move forward with a more solid route network. That'll conclude today's aviation news. If you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow.